Producercrate, boy. Welcome to episode 2 of the Producercrate podcast. Today we're going to be talking to Ty. Ty has got to be one of my favorite sample makers right now. He specializes in 90s soul and R&B and just recently dropped his entire stash on the Producercrate. So definitely check that out. Let's get straight into it. What's up, man? How you
I'm
feeling
good.
today?
I'm good. My day just kind of started like 3 hours ago.
Yeah, that's cool. What's a normal day look like for you when it comes to music?
Normally, I'll, wake up, I eat lunch early because I like to just have my day's broken up to where after lunch and then before 4 o'clock is like all music time. So earlier I eat lunch, the more I can work on music.
That's cool. You don't eat breakfast?
Nope.
Okay, yeah, same here, same here. So do you have like a dedicated schedule for music?
Kinda, yeah. I guess let's say 12 o'clock to like 4 is music, and then also workout. If I'll work out at like 3, and then like from like let's say 4:30 to 6 or 7 is music, and then 9 to like 1, 2 a.m. is music. Basically, my whole
That's
day is
cool.
just music.
That's what's up. How long have you been doing that kind of schedule for? Because I feel like for me personally, I can never stick to a set schedule. Like that's like
Oh,
everything that
really?
I hate. Yeah.
For me, I've been doing it for like a while now, maybe like a few years. It's to me, I don't really see it as a schedule. It's like any time when I'm not doing anything, it's just music time.
Yeah.
Like because I'm just huge on productivity now. Like if I don't make like 2, 3 things in a day, then I just feel like shit. And
Yeah,
like that
that's
includes
valid.
like sending stuff out, making stuff, like doing collab and stuff. Like so yeah, it's like I'll always have something to do. So there's not really a reason for me not to be doing anything, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. So when you say that you're making like 2 to 3 things a day at least, like to feel satisfied with your work, is
Mhm.
that like all as complex as like most of your stuff that you put out is, or like what's that look like?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I break my own work into kind of 3, 4 different things. So it's like beats for my channel is one, samples for like a big sample pack is another. Normally one sample for like a big sample pack where I'll have like 15, 20 stems. That'll take like 1 to 2 days. But then and then samples for a smaller pack, which is like other packs that I put out that are just more usable, like easier to, use for beats and placements and everything. Those normally I can do like 2 a day. So like if I'm doing a sample for a big pack and a beat, then that's just like 2 things and I'm satisfied because it's like 2 big things. But if it's like for just a smaller pack, let's say I'm releasing like on a bunch of different sites and I'm just going more for consistency, then I will try to make 2 of those plus a beat to feel productive. And that's just like I like to break my own. I like to do the samples for packs and then sample the simple samples, I'll call them, because when it comes to doing like big ass samples, it's very difficult to even keep going without an idea, you know? And then
Right.
like if I'm like, oh, I don't like I could spend hours on something and then it ends up not being that good, then that just sucks. So then the simple samples kind of help me experiment because I it's less of a commitment, less of a risk of like spending my time on something that turns out bad. So I can experiment with vocals more. I could try out some stuff like talk box or something like just stuff that I've never
Yeah.
done before because I'm always trying to kind of improve and experiment because making the same thing a lot just kind of gets like boring.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's interesting for me personally. I find that the bigger samples that I do, that I'm trying to do the more complex stuff, I find
Mhm.
that that's the time that I end up experimenting the most. I
Oh
feel like
yeah.
a lot of the times when I make my more simple stuff or stuff that I'm just trying to, send out for placements or whatever, I feel
Yeah.
like that's the time that I'm just sending things that I'm really comfortable with. So that's really
Uh,
interesting.
yeah, I guess yeah, for me it's the opposite mainly because when it comes to a bigger sample, since it's such a big like time and creative energy commitment, I take I guess the least risk with like
Mm,
it not turning out good. So yeah, that's I guess I take more risk with the simpler samples because it's less of a time and creative energy not waste risk, I guess.
that's cool. So when you make these bigger samples, do you have like a direction that you kind of follow like right off the bat? Like do you sit down in your session and think like, okay, I'm gonna make like a 90s soul sample and like kind of know what it's gonna sound like, or do you just kind of start putting stuff down and let that process take you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Me personally, I will always have like a reference or idea in my mind because I just can't create without an idea, or at least without small ideas. Like I could be like, oh, I kind of want to make R&B and just start doing guitar, but I'll have small ideas like, oh, I want to do like this neo soul like that I learned, or like I want to try using my thermate pedal, like just kind of small ideas.
Yeah, and just kind of see what they grow into.
Yeah, or sometimes I'll have references as well. Like sometimes the reference will be another sample maker sample, or it will be like an old song. Lately, I've been having a lot of old song style references just because I'm trying to have like I want at a point I want my samples to be indistinguishable from like an actual old sample.
It's crazy. They basically are. Like I've spent a lot of time listening to your samples, whether it be like on Waves or just stuff that you sent for Producer Crate, and it's like it's crazy how high quality they are.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, like and the output is insane. You have like over 350 samples on Waves, right?
Yeah, I do. Because Waves, it's a very like the way that I found success on Waves is that the more you post and the more consistent you are, so let's say like a pack every 2 weeks, then like that you'll have the best outcome that way. So then that's also what made me start doing the simple samples is because of Waves. Like normally I can't put out like a pack a week, but if I
Right.
just up my productivity and not dumb down, but like just simplify it so it's not so insane with like every tiny texture and like a whole new track just for this one little sound that the whole sample
Mm-hmm.
could breathe without.
Right.
So yeah, Waves definitely helped me a lot by with finding my productivity and like um making more good samples that I like in like a day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, shout out Waves. They're awesome. I used
Yeah.
to do some social media marketing for them.
Oh,
Um,
really? Cool.
yeah, I was doing like you know how they have the weekly roundup posts now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of started doing those like a while back.
Uh,
Mantra was having me post like 3 times a week, just doing like, picking out our favorite kits and then just making
yeah.
like little videos on them.
Oh,
Um,
that's sick.
but yeah, definitely shout out Waves. They're awesome. As far as like those samples go though, like the either the complex or the simple ones, like how do you feel like you've reached a stopping point? Because for me, a lot of times when I'm making these really complex loops, it's like I could
Yeah.
just keep adding more and more and more layers. But like for you, when do you just sit down and say, okay, I can export this?
That's a good question too. I normally it's like one of two or three things. So the first one, which is the most like I guess obvious one, is when I start getting lazy and I'm like I don't want to add more. Like I just want
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
move on. And then the next is kind of just like I'll either come back on fresh ears or try and have like a fresh ear headspace when I'm listening and seeing like, oh, is it too crowded? Like, are there too many different melodies and rhythms going on at the same time? And that could either be a sign to end it there or to arrange it to where there's a B, C, D section. So every little rhythm and counter melody can breathe. Like I'll do a lot of B and C sections. Some will have like strings and then like it'll have a lead guitar that adds like rhythm, but then that can't really play on during the vocal part. so then it'll be a longer sample, but it's like gives the user more to work with.
Right. That makes sense. That's really cool how you go back to it like multiple times. I think
Yeah.
right now in the way that producers are, the way that producers think, at least for me and a lot of the people that I work with is,
Mhm.
it's that mindset of having to finish the, whatever you start in that session, unless it's like a full song or whatever.
Mhm.
Like a lot of people just try to work on a sample and just be done with it in, like 30 minutes and not go back to it. Like once they've exported it, it's done. So that's interesting.
Yeah, for me, once I export it, it's basically done. But there's been a lot of times recently where I'm like, I export it and then I come back on fresh ears and then I'm like, dang, I really don't like how those vocals sound. And then I'll have to go remix it, re-export it, and delete my old like file on Dropbox and replace it. Like, but yeah, I know another producer who's really similar to me in terms of like the creative process is his name's Akira. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Oh yeah,
But
I was watching a waves breakdown yesterday and I saw it.
oh yeah.
I saw some of the stuff that y'all were making together. It seems like you guys have really great synergy.
Yeah, we both work really well. We made 2 packs in like 2 weeks together.
That's awesome.
And yeah, he's very similar. He'll come back on fresh ears a lot, or like he'll bounce in a sample and then like a day later he'll hate it. Like
Yeah.
it's a lot of like the creative process is a lot of struggle, but it's not I don't see it as a bad thing.
Oh, for sure.
It's kind of like expecting more out of yourself is always kind of a good thing because it just leads to self-improvement and just getting better overall, especially with the community that we're in there with people like Elkin getting that song with Metro Boomin, like dudes like Nami, going on the Kenny Beats like Tiny Desk concert. It's just like the standard's so high that it's like it's impossible not to hold yourself to a higher standard.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, have you read The Creative Act by Rick Rubin?
I haven't.
No. So I'm like halfway through it. I haven't finished it completely yet. I just
Mhm.
started a couple weeks ago, just the audio one.
Oh, nice.
Trying to listen when I can. But one of the things that stood out to me the most about, a concept he was talking about is like creativity being kind of like a radio frequency. Uh
Oh,
and
yeah.
and basically it's like creativity is like a channel, right? And you're like
Mhm.
in the 80s or 90s and you had to like manually tune your car radio to be on the exact channel like when you go to
Yeah.
different places and consistently driving that car, like being in that position where you can make a creative choice, um allows you more opportunities to be able to tune it, and over
Yeah.
time you just get better at being you know in a creative mindset. 'Cause I feel like
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who just kind of wait for that creativity and it,
Oh
they're
yeah.
not really pushing themselves and it, it can be seen as healthy, but like at the same
Mhm.
time, you could definitely push yourself more.
Yeah, 100%. What do you think about forced creativity?
I was actually about to ask you about that. um,
Yeah.
I think that for me, I always have things that I can kind of fall back on, and
Yeah.
I have things that I know will get me into a creative rhythm. So
Mhm.
it's like I know if I open up a piano and I just, lay down some random keys, like maybe I'll literally just lay down like something and hit Alt R and just try to make a chord out of whatever it comes up with, like putting the
Yeah.
notes randomly on the scale, um, and just see what happens. Or sometimes I'll just, do something that I've made a lot of, like if it's gonna be like an Ardo Wick beat or like, a really basic trap beat or something like
Mhm.
that, just to have some kind of output, like if I'm not feeling especially creatively
Yeah.
motivated that day.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, it's great to have stuff to fall back on, like you said. Like, there's days where I'm like, I don't want to even like hear music. Like I'm just kind of
Right.
tired of this. But then like, there's like the easy stuff you can do, like you said, make a like a Nardo wig beat, or for me, make a beat, or just stuff to send out. So it's still product productive, but it's not necessarily a detriment to my own kind of creative mental health, I guess. Because like I'm sure I'm sure many other producers are the same, where it's like if you make something, you're gonna make something to feel productive, but if it turns out bad, then you still don't feel like fulfilled.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you're like I might as well have made nothing, you know?
yeah.
But when it comes to kind of sending stuff out, I feel less kind of not perfectionist, but less hard on myself because there's that other philosophy where it's like your throwaway could be someone else's inspiration, you know, or like someone else's favorite beat or song. And I think
100%.
it's just really cool that we live in a world where everything can be appreciated, you know, like I have so many samples that I hate, but I like other people will choose that sample out of the whole pack, and I'll be
Right.
like
Like,
why do
why
you
the
have to
hell did
choose
you
like
pick this
that one?
sample? Like, I hate this.
Yeah,
Yeah. It happens
and
with
then,
beats all the time. I always see
yeah,
memes about that, like from BeatStars and all that, where it's like you send an artist a pack and they always pick your least favorite one every time.
oh yeah, dude,
Yeah.
always.
Yeah. It's weird to think about too. Like, if you step back and think about, say you're a small producer with like 100 followers and you're, couple weeks into making music or whatever, and you're not feeling very
Yeah,
motivated, and you're thinking about how it's like impossible to, make beats when you're not motivated. But
hmm,
then you step back and you think like, what would an unmotivated beat look like for Metro Boomin? And you probably
yeah,
think it's gonna be some crazy thing. But like he goes through those too. I'm sure he goes through
yeah,
those phases
for
where he's like, I
sure.
don't want to make anything, and then he makes like one of the hardest things you've ever heard, not even
Yeah, for
trying.
sure. I think another thing to think about is like artists spend a year or 2 years on an album, you know, like, and to kind of, it's understandable why they spend so much time on an album because like you can have that creative flow. You can be like, oh, I want to lock in for a few months, get this album done. But what I know, at least a few artists do, like a few industry artists, like the top artists, they'll make like 80, 100 songs and then pick the
Yeah,
10, 15 best ones out of that, and that's their album. And then they'll arrange it, you know, they'll make the songs fit with each other, blah blah blah. But like just it's like that's like 80 up to 90 like unreleased songs, you know, that they're never gonna see the light of day, you know.
right. Yeah, it's like
That's just
crazy to think like artists like Juice WRLD, like how many songs that are never gonna see the light of day, because guys like that could just go in and boom, 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 like it's done
hmm,
like that. But yeah, it's crazy. I feel like a lot of underground artists are like that too. Like they'll make a ton of songs,
yeah,
and I think a lot of them just end up either like not getting finished or are not part of the like favorites. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like I see that a
yeah.
lot with artists.
Like I mean Snot, he has a ton of unreleased songs that he just teases on his Instagram and then never puts out.
Yeah, was that did that happen to you? Did you
No.
what? I can't
Me
remember
and
who it
Mike,
was.
or was it MB? I think MB got he did Easter Pink by Snot.
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
he got a Suicide Boys uh feature and then he got rid of the Suicide Boys feature.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
it's
crazy.
funny.
So that song's not coming out.
I believe it is. It's a really good song.
Yeah, it was crazy. That snippet was really fire.
Yeah. Me and Mike got a song with Snot along in 2021, and he just like did a demo of it and never finished it.
Mm.
And I was in so much like I was so anxious because like his album was coming out, and that was when he was in LA like recording his album, and then and
Is
then
that
like
when you guys went to link up with him?
I wasn't there, but Donnie and like the other dudes did,
Mm.
and yeah. When I got the news, Mike like told me he was like, I was so hyped because like the Snot placement's still a dream placement for me, just because I was listening to him so much in high school and shit. And to be like connected with the people who like are tight with them is just super cool.
Yeah.
And then like to hear that from Mike, I was like freaking out. And then like months go by of me just like, oh, I wonder if it's on the album. Like any news in the song, and and then it wasn't. And then I was just like, I was super bummed, but at the same time I was just more motivated to, you know, make it onto the next album.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, when I texted you the other day and asked for a playlist of songs you produce, I was like super surprised when you said you didn't have any major placements. Like that's crazy to me. Like with how good your samples are and like how much they're getting out there now, like that's wild. I'm sure there's some that you don't know about yet.
Thank you. And yeah, I won't talk about unreleased placements because I don't want to jinx it, but there's
Right.
some that I'm comfortable talking about because I know they're never gonna come out. Like that's not one. And then there's also I believe I have like another unreleased song with it's like Summer Walker, but that's never
Oh
gonna
yeah.
come out.
Yeah.
So that
So
was
cool to
frustrating.
have for
But
sure.
yeah, it's really cool that she hopped on my sample, but it's just yeah, I'm never gonna hear it, so then like it's whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be like that. What kind of music do you typically listen to? Like do you listen to a lot of the same stuff that you make?
Honestly, yeah, it surprises me that a lot of producers listen to the like polar opposite of what they make.
Right.
Like my friend, he's a YouTube producer. His name's Dionso, or like his real name's Diego. He
Mm.
makes like the most beautiful R&B ever, like, and then he listens to like just like lucky rap, like that type of rap
Yeah.
is really surprising.
Yeah, I feel like that's like one of the most common things that I notice with producers. It's actually like a little bit surprising that you listen to the same stuff that you make.
Yeah.
Um is that however like this same stuff that you listened to growing up, or how is that different?
It's funny because I grew up only listening to like classic rock and some Michael Jackson
Mhm.
because my dad is a big classic rock guy, and so then once I started finding my own music taste, it's like everyone's like, "Oh, I grew up listening to this." I'm like, "Damn!" Like I,
Yeah.
I had no idea like this person even existed. Like I was finding him now,
Oh
and
yeah,
it's
I've had a couple moments like that, like with my parents too. I'll be like, uh, because they only listen to like, so my mom listened to a lot of like old school hip hop and stuff, but she didn't
oh
really
nice,
tell me that she did until I
oh
was like
really,
18. So yeah, it's so weird because she would like only let us listen to Christian music
oh
uh
really,
for like until I was maybe like 13 or something like that. Like
yeah,
she would get mad at me if I turned on the rock station because that's what my dad and I would always listen to. So she'd be like Christian music, like chill stuff. And then my
that's
dad always
crazy.
wanted to listen to rock. And then I'm like starting to get into production. I'm like listening to songs from like the 80s and 90s that
Yeah,
everybody grew up on. I'm like, oh man, have you heard of this fire artist? They're like, what do you mean? Like,
yeah, dude, I just
yeah,
discovered the artist named like Sadie. You know her? She made R&B in the 80s and 90s
I
and
think
2000s.
I heard something by her in a playlist recently, but
I just discovered her. And everyone knows her. Like everyone's like, "Oh yeah, like I grew up on like." I'm like, "Come on, this is so good."
yeah,
And then I just literally last night listened to River Tiber.
I think so.
Yeah, his I listened to his album. That it's insane. Like it's very electronic production, but then in an R&B funk style almost,
Mm,
and like psychedelic as well. It's super cool because like it really dives into arrangement. Lately, I've just been hearing so much about arrangement, and I'm just like, what the hell is so special about arrangement? Like, you just copy paste, like, take some shit out, add some in, like, but then once I actually learned what arrangement is, it's actually like, I think arrangement, my best description of it would be like just structuring of the entire song rather than just like, 8 bars guitar, 8 bars no guitar.
right.
So just hearing these moments and like tempo changes, like all these super crazy bridges in the middle of a song, that is, I think, what should best represent arrangement. And the arrangement in like the River Tiber album it's unreal.
Yeah, I've got to listen to that. Yeah, it's interesting how arrangement has changed, like especially
Yeah.
recently. I feel like it's like always so similar nowadays. Like I feel like
Yeah.
everybody, no matter what genre they're making, is trying to follow pop arrangement now.
Yeah, it's really like simple. I think the artists who have the best arrangement right now, I'd say, are probably like Tyler the Creator and Kendrick.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like with Tyler, and I'm not even a huge Tyler the Creator fan, but I respect him greatly for like his musical skill. Like he's just super talented.
Hmm.
And his arrangement is amazing. He'll put a bridge in a song and you wouldn't even know you're listening to a bridge. Like
Yeah, it
it's
just
just
feels
so
like
fun.
one super cohesive thing. Like you
Yeah,
can't really put
exactly.
like, okay, I know where the chorus is, but everything else is just it's the song.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it was I don't know. I love messing with different arrangements. When I started to get more into pop production, that's where it really hit me that I didn't
Yeah.
really know anything about arrangements. I did a Zoom session with this artist, Tim's. You probably haven't heard of her. She's a little bit smaller. She's like a dark pop artist.
Oh, no,
Um, yeah, so like are you familiar with dark pop like Emmeline? Um, I guess I
I don't I don't
more
believe so.
yeah, you know like when Bella Porch started putting out music, like
I think
a
so.
like Build a Bitch.
I think
You heard
so.
that? Yeah, so that's kind of like a more mainstream version of it, but dark pop is definitely one of my favorite genres right now. Um, there's a playlist on Spotify called Salt that has like a really good example
Oh
of
yeah.
like what it
I
is.
think I've seen that one.
Yeah, but she's so Tim's is an artist who's really good with that, but only has like I think 100,000 monthly listeners or something like that.
That's pretty good.
Um, but we were doing a Zoom session. And I was just doing my thing with the pop beat. I would usually have like my own arrangement, and then I'd send people stems, and they can like mess with it. But I haven't
Yeah.
really messed with like different types of arrangements. And she's like, "Oh, what if we just did like a 4 bar chorus and then like a 4 bar post chorus and then like 12 bars for the verse?" I'm like, "Whoa." I did not hear an eight in
I'd be
there.
like, what the hell is a post chorus?
Yeah. So it ended up being really cool. I don't think the song's gonna come out, but it was a lot of fun to make. So we had this like
Yeah.
really short chorus, and then it's almost like the first half was like the actual chorus, and the second half was like instrumental chorus.
Yeah.
It really changed like the entire feeling of the song, and I had to listen to it like a bunch of times to like not just be so stuck on like this
Mhm.
has to be longer, like this feels wrong.
Yeah, yeah. I think another thing that I've learned like recently, like this has been another thing that was a huge learning curve for me was I've been working with his name's Brian. It's like Brian with a B, so like Bryven. But
Oh yeah, yeah.
he does a lot of work with like a bunch of artists. I can't even name them all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just came across him last week on Instagram, I
Oh,
think.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's insane with like he's a professional for sure.
that's
But
awesome.
one thing I learned a lot from him was just the actual song building process rather than just beat making, you know? Like he will immediately after he is making a beat or during the beat making and even like making a sample, he's like thinking of demos, he's like even recording demos, just like having basically a demo to send an artist rather than just a beat. It kind of
Mm,
it kind of creates that gap between like beat maker and producer. And
right.
because for the longest time I just saw them as interchangeable. Like I'm a beat maker, I'm a producer, whatever. But
Hmm.
then actually seeing the songwriting process, the song building process, and like sending demos and everything, it's actually directing the song to an extent that I feel like that is what a lot of people don't know because you kind of have to be in this space of working directly with artists and like them trusting you enough to record a demo and not feeling like you're overstaying your rights or not rights but your
Like
position.
overstepping your boundaries.
Yeah, exactly, because it's like if anything send it to a writer to do a demo or like but then to be able to just like do some rough vocals just for an idea is like it's great. I just haven't had the opportunity really because I don't work a ton with like artists like that.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, normally I just send beats, even just samples.
Yeah. What would you say is a good way, in your opinion, to get like your foot in the door with that kind of thing? Like, if somebody were looking to kind of get into songwriting and like sending demos like that for the first time, like what advice would you give them?
I'd say maybe SoundCloud. Just like because the most important part of a producer is having a catalog, but you can't really say you can't post like a beat demo on YouTube, you can't really monetize that. So you just having your own catalog on SoundCloud, I feel like would help a lot because when you work, when you reach out to artists, if they respond, then you have something to show them. And I'm not saying reaching out to like Snot or like someone like that because there's no way in hell you're gonna respond. Like
Right.
realistically, if you find another thing on SoundCloud is like you can find small artists that are super talented. And if you reach out to them, like they'll probably respond because that's probably their personal account, like it's just finding the right artist to work with, having that connection, having that same love for music where it's more than just a hobby
Mm-hmm.
is a great way to find the right artist to work with to send demos to. And then when you're trying to, I guess, sell yourself initially, having that SoundCloud catalog will help a lot because it's kind of just like they don't have to go look through Dropbox files to listen like, oh, he makes these demos. Or like you don't have a YouTube, you can still have your YouTube selling beats or posting tutorials or posting sample packs, whatever you want. Just having multiple outlets and kind of being everywhere is I'd say is very important.
Yeah.
I don't use SoundCloud though, so I feel like it's hypocritical for me to say, but I try to use most of the medias and platforms.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I haven't used SoundCloud in a minute.
Yeah,
I always
I
forget
haven't,
about it.
I haven't used it since like middle school, like high school. Like,
Yeah, I think for me, I just haven't seen a lot of people listening to stuff on SoundCloud, so I haven't really
yeah,
felt any incentive to post on there. And I don't feel
yeah,
like I have anything that's worth posting on there that's not worth posting somewhere else.
yeah. I've seen some like sample makers will post samples on SoundCloud, which is really cool. Or producers will post like producer song basically. Like it's like a like there's a lot of different genres where you don't need vocals to,
Yeah.
have a listenable song. And but for me, I'd rather just post it on like Spotify.
Yeah, I
DistroKid
saw that you
20.
posted some stuff on there. Do you just post like whenever you do your big sample packs, you just post it like as an album on there?
Oh yeah, because for TrackLib, since TrackLib is actual sampling and like clearing samples, they want you to have it uploaded as like a real song. So it is
Oh,
actually
cool.
a real sample that needs to be cleared. That way it's like it's not any different than the other songs that are actual songs that they're importing. And you get like the ISRC numbers and stuff for the legal paperwork.
Mm,
I'm bad with paperwork, but like yeah, it's really cool though. Just I like having my packs on Spotify, but I don't like promote it or anything because I don't
right.
expect you to be listening to a sample pack.
Yeah. I feel like they're all like super listenable on their own though.
Thank you.
Like I think it's great for background music. You should try to get them into some like chill beats to study to playlist.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I'd love to I one of my goals actually for this year is to start producing, like I said, as an artist, like a producer artist, just making like anything, whether it be I'm very big into alternative stuff like Blood Orange or like now River Tiber or like uh even some R&B stuff similar to like Snow Leg or just anything with like a punchy kick, a nice groove,
hmm
nice bass line and like neo soul chords I'd love to make. I haven't got around to it because I'm so strict on my productivity schedule.
right. Yeah, it probably seems like hard to break away from that when you've been doing
Yeah,
it for so long.
it's bad because I have this issue where I'm in the house all day. Like I'm in my room on my laptop doing music all day,
Hmm
every day. And it feels like garbage after a while because it's like I haven't I haven't gone outside and done anything in like weeks.
Yeah.
It's like, but at the same time, I don't feel good if I don't get that quota, you know? So then it's kind of like a crossroads where it's like go outside, enjoy life, or like stay in and be and feel productive. But I kind of balance by like weekends, I'll do a little bit less music. I'll just do like one thing a day on weekends.
Yeah,
And
that
it's
makes
not like
sense.
I don't feel like it's me getting lazy or like I need a break. I just feel comfortable about with like not having to work constantly on weekends on music. Like I still like to work on weekends, but just not like how I do on like weekdays, making two, three things a day.
Right. That makes sense. Give me just one sec here. Um, Zoom is being a bitch. Intermission over.
Yeah, break time's over.
Cool. So we were just talking about, man, TikTok's ruined us, man.
Yeah, dude, I got like three monitors all around with Subway Surfers right now.
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna clip this into a part that has the Subway Surfers on the bottom while we
Yeah,
talk
or like
about
the
something.
cutting soap.
Oh yeah. How do you feel about like the state of TikTok and stuff like that right now? Like, is that something you're actively pursuing? Like, are you trying to push short
Um,
form content at all?
Personally, I don't use TikTok at all. I have it downloaded, but I'll only open it like twice a year. But I think it's stupid them trying to ban TikTok. It is just another social media outlet, and like I don't I they're going after it because of like data mining, which like every social media app does.
Mm-hmm.
From what this is from what I see, I don't know the whole story, so like it could be like deeper because I know it's made by China, but it seems like more politicized on why they're trying to take it down versus like Twitter uses user data and sends it out. Facebook sells user data, like
Yeah, yeah, they all
Google.
do the same thing. But like honestly, I don't think TikTok is going anywhere. And even if it did, like another one would just pop up like so quick.
Yeah,
Like it wouldn't
yeah.
even matter. Like, did you see that the same people who made TikTok just made this other app? Um, or
Oh, really?
apparently they made this other app. I'm not like 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. But it's called
Yeah.
like Lemon 8. Uh, it's weird. It's like a mix between like Pinterest and TikTok and
Oh,
Twitter. It's
oh,
a
wow.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like I made an account just so I, get my username and stuff. I always
Yeah.
forget that it's there, but yeah, they made that. Some people were saying it's like a backup. It's like under a different company's name, but apparently like it's funded by the
Yeah.
creators of TikTok or like they helped with it
Oh,
or
wow.
something. So, but yeah, like they really can't do anything about TikTok in all honesty. Like
Yeah.
short form content is always going to be a big thing.
I saw it was banned in like India and Montana, but I don't know. That's just I think like Rap
Montana,
TV posted that.
Montana, like the state Montana.
Yeah, Montana. Something either Montana or another state. I saw one of the states banned it, but I don't know.
Like completely because I know they were I know they just banned it in a few places like on federal phones or like government
Oh,
phones.
I don't know. All I saw was like the Rap TV headline, like TikTok is banned in Montana. And I was just like, oh, that's crazy. But it just like kept
Man, those
scrolling.
rap TV things be out of pocket sometimes.
It's so funny, dude.
Those be
Rap
the
TV
most
is my main
clickbaity
source.
things.
Dude.
Yeah, man, it'd be
You're in
like,
Canada, right?
yeah, I just moved up here 7, 8 months ago, something like
Oh
that.
wow.
Yeah, because my
Where in
girl
Canada?
lives up here. I'm in
Okay.
Ontario. Yeah, in the city called
Oh,
Kingston.
is it's that's more east, right? Is it near Toronto?
Yeah, we're like 2.5 hours from Toronto, something like that.
Not
We're
bad.
like right in between Toronto and Montreal.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool though. Like my girl and I met through the retreats that I host, and
Hmm.
then we ended up wanting to like move in together because we didn't really like doing the whole long distance thing.
Yeah.
Cross country. But yeah,
Hmm.
it was just a lot easier for me to come up here than it is for her to come down there. Because when I go
Yeah.
up there, it's like I could be here for 6 months at a time, but anytime I leave the country and come back, it restarts. So I could literally drive down to the border, do a U-turn, and come back, and I'm fine because I don't need a
That's
visa because
crazy.
I don't need to like work here or anything, and I already
Yeah.
leave every 3 months for the retreat anyways. So
Yeah.
yeah,
How have the retreats been? Is
they've
it
been
always
they've been
in,
good.
it's always in Florida, or you
Most of the
change state?
time. Yeah,
Okay.
it's I would say 90% of the time it's in Orlando. We did one in Tennessee once in
Oh wow.
Gatlinburg. Yeah, in this big ass like 3-story log cabin mansion. It was pretty sick.
Damn.
Um, but we just didn't have enough people there. I think it was like 25 people maybe in a house that
Uh-huh.
probably could have slept like 40. So it's
Oh
like it felt like a little empty.
yeah.
But I don't know. We've done ones as big as 100 people before, which is crazy. Like we had 3 houses. Like it was just way too much to manage. So now we're kind of toning it back down. This next one we're gonna do in June is actually gonna be 8 days instead of 5, because usually you get there like on a
Mhm.
Monday, you stay for 3 full days, and then you leave on a Friday. So it's like
Yeah.
technically the week, like a Monday through Friday, but
Mhm.
you get there like usually Monday evening and you're leaving first thing Friday morning.
Yeah. That's
But
sick.
but yeah, it's cool. We've had some guys from BeatStars call. Mike Trampy was actually supposed to come out for the last one, but he had something come up last minute, so he couldn't.
Oh
But he
wow.
still called in. Simon Servita did a call in once. It was
Oh
pretty dope.
nice.
But yeah, so definitely been a lot of fun. There's a lot of really, really talented artists that have been coming to these.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I have you ever thought of doing it in LA?
We've definitely thought about it, but it's just so expensive to do it out
Yeah,
there. Uh,
super.
and when I was in LA, like the one time I was like actually staying there to do music stuff,
Hmm.
uh, we got kicked out of 3 different B&Bs for noise
Why?
when
Oh,
we literally like we're not even being that loud. Like there
oh,
was this one house that's like it's at the bottom of this hill, right?
uh-huh.
And then it's got like a little pool and it had this weird ass speaker. It's like a Buddha statue that has like a speaker
Yeah.
built into it. It was crazy. So we connected it on Bluetooth. It's at like maybe 20% volume, but the problem is like the sound echoes up, and
Yeah.
there's some neighbors that like hate the homeowners at the B&B we were staying at.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we got like 3 noise complaints in 30 minutes. It
Oh
was
my, so it's just like
ridiculous.
drama, neighborhood drama.
Yeah, it's like, and with Orlando, there's all these houses around Disney that are like the exact same house. They have
Yeah.
a ton of bedrooms. They don't have like some huge kitchen with a bunch of expensive shit. Like it's just like a little kitchen,
Hmm.
decent sized living room, and then like 14 bedrooms. And they're all cookie
Wow.
cutter houses, and they're all B&Bs, and everybody that goes there wants to go to Disney, so you're never going to get a noise complaint. Like one time we
Yeah.
literally had the B&B cancel on us like the day that the retreat was supposed to start.
Oh
And they said it
shit.
was because they needed like to fix their AC or something. I was like, bro, like this is crazy. Like literally like 6 hours before check-in, they just canceled the booking for a
Jeez.
booking that was supposed to be for like 30 people. But we found another one the exact same day, and
Mhm.
everything ended up being fine. So that's why I love
Yeah.
Orlando, because shit can go south real fast and you'll be
Yeah.
completely fine. So
Yeah. I've had there was this one last time I went to LA was in March, and the owner of the Airbnb was kind of weird. Not weird, like, but she was just like she was so good at like under communicating.
yeah,
Like a lot of people nowadays, but like because my friend he booked the Airbnb, he's like, because we landed at like 1 or something, and he's like, hey, is it cool if we like check in early? And she's just like, I'll let you know when it's ready to check in. And she
yeah.
never hit us up. Like she never texted back. We because check-in's
Oh
at
my
4.
God,
She did not text at all like that whole trip. So she, but we
that's
just checked in at
crazy.
4. Like
Was it like
this
a
is
self check-in or like they had to let you
yeah, it
in?
was a self check-in. It was an apartment. It was pretty nice. It was just you could tell with LA, I guess it's the whole culture around LA, but nothing in LA is really built to last. So you don't have really high quality infrastructure with stuff. You like the doors feel really thin, like
Yeah,
everything it's like nice and flashy, but it's all kind of gimmicky.
Yeah,
And I
that's
think
so
that
true.
kind of represents like the culture around LA, but I mean, it works short term. So
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the listings are fake too. Like, or they'll really bend the truth on some listings. Like
yeah, yeah,
the first one that we were trying to stay at, so we were staying with this rapper, Sad Boy
yeah.
Prolific. Do you know him?
No.
Yeah, he's pretty big in lo-fi. He's an awesome guy.
Oh,
Um,
sick.
but we were trying to book him a B&B because he just sent us the money and it was like, just book me something. Like, I'm about to be here. He had to
Yeah.
take a train from Denver or whatever. It was
Are
wild.
you
Like,
serious?
instead of flying, yeah, it was like a 3 or 4 day trip for him.
Yeah, trains
Um,
are super slow.
it's crazy. So he wanted to get something that was like, I can't remember exactly where it was supposed to be, but like he wanted it like in this specific area. So we
Hmm.
found a booking that said it was like right central location of that neighborhood or like that area or
Yeah.
whatever. And we go, it's like 50 minutes away from the airport, I think. And it's
Mhm.
like not even close. Like, you probably could not Uber there in 40 minutes if you wanted to.
Uh-huh.
Like, it was what, like to the place where it said it was like central in. It was
Hmm.
crazy. And like everything about it was wrong. They were like, oh yeah, it's got like 3 bedrooms and like 6 beds. It had like 2 bedrooms and 2 beds.
Real
Yeah.
damn.
And they were like so confused when we wanted to cancel it. So yeah, but that wasn't the first time that happened in LA either. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't really trust LA. Like, as much as I would love to do an event out there, like it's just not worth it
Mhm.
with how much you're gonna be paying and like all the
Oh
extra
yeah.
stuff. Like, everybody's gonna have to, fly to that airport and pay like $100 for an Uber to get there. So like you add that onto
Yeah.
their costs and it's like, yeah.
One thing, no one does this. I'm not trying. It's not like a secret or anything, but I always fly into Burbank when I go to LA
Oh yeah.
because Burbank is never busy. The airport's never busy,
Oh, that's
and like
crazy.
all the studios are in Burbank too. Like Kenny Beats' studios in Burbank. I mean, a lot. I don't think that's a secret either.
Mm,
Like, I think a lot of people know that. But
dang, yeah,
yeah,
I
all the
gotta try
studios
that
are in Burbank.
sometime.
Yeah, they just pull up. Like
How far is it from like downtown LA?
I'd say like 30 minutes to an hour depending on traffic.
Oh,
But
that's
like
not
I feel
bad.
like
That's
that's
like
most places.
literally how far you're gonna go from the LA airport anyways.
Yeah, LA airport is like 30 minutes to an hour just to get onto the freeway.
Yeah, that's crazy. And you have to like shuttle out to somewhere where you can call an Uber from, because if you call an
Yeah.
Uber directly from the airport, you have to get the Uber Black. It's like
Oh,
120
really?
bucks. Yeah, it's
Damn.
crazy. I made that mistake the first time I went to LA. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like,
I
welcome to
mean, yeah.
LA. Here's our first $150 purchase.
It's hard to go to LA and not spend more than $1,000.
Yeah, I
Like no
I don't
matter
know if
how
it's
long.
possible.
Last time, or no, I went in September last year and I spent so much money because I rented a car too.
Oh my
I was
God.
like, because when I go to LA, I'm like, fuck it, like I might as well do this stuff I can't do at home. So I rented
Yeah.
this like I don't know if you're a car person, but it's a Honda S2000. It's a convertible, but the main thing is just like it's a cool Japanese sports car. Like I'm not a big convertible guy, but it was
Mm.
so fun to drive. But I was like driving in LA was just so stressful.
You're like, damn, this the car out of the sample pack cover.
Yeah, like it's just. But then driving through the traffic, it took us like an hour and a half to get back to Burbank.
Oh my
Like
God. Yeah, that's
it's
crazy.
so
I
much
wouldn't want to
stopping.
drive there because, like, if you're going downtown or whatever, like,
Mhm.
you might as well Uber because there's gonna be nowhere to park.
Yeah, exactly.
Everywhere's cluttered. Like, that's why I don't really like LA. That and like why I
Yeah,
don't really like the idea of going to New York is like there's so many people in one little
yeah.
spot on the earth. Like, that is insane to me.
I like LA more than I'd say San Francisco, just because like LA is more spread out. So it's not like a two-way road that is like the size of a bike lane, you know, like it's
Yeah.
not super dense, but it's just everywhere is far. Like if you're getting on the freeway in LA, most of the times you're gonna be spending at least like 45 minutes driving because like not even because of traffic, but because of just like how big LA is. I feel
Yeah.
like I didn't realize how big LA was previously until actually going there and for music because like It's easily you will spend like an hour in an Uber just normally.
Yeah.
But the Ubers in LA are cheap. Like, and I'm not saying like, oh, like $60 for an Uber is cheap. I'm saying like, because they're only getting like $20. If I
Yeah.
would not drive someone an hour for $20.
Yeah,
Like,
I guess when you think about it like that, I guess when I think about it is like, I don't know, I feel like anywhere that's not LA or like a huge city like that and I want to Uber
mhm,
somewhere, it's gonna take like 15 to 20 minutes and it's gonna cost me like 10 to 20 bucks.
yeah.
Like I feel like that's just the standard. So when I see like 60, $70, I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing with my life? Like
Yeah.
it's
But it's crazy
crazy.
because
Like
LA,
that's a full tank of gas.
I'll get rides that are like $20 for like an hour long drive, and it's crazy
That's wild. Yeah,
because
I never
they're getting
got
like
no
$10 for
$20 Uber.
yeah. That uh, I use Uber and Lyft, and I'll just compare prices. But normally it's like
Mhm.
it'll range like the most I've spent on an Uber is like 70, $80, and that was just
Okay.
because it was peak time. Like on average, I'll spend like Ubers will cost like anywhere from 15 to I'd say like $45 for like
Yeah, that's
LA.
not bad.
That's like an hour. So it's just pretty nice to, because like I would hate driving that.
Yeah. Well, you live in California now, right?
Yeah, I've lived in California my whole life, but I'm north. I live in near Sacramento. It's the
Okay.
capital of California. We got the Kings,
Okay. Hell
and
yeah.
it's like an hour flight from LA, which is not bad at all. It's like an
How
eight
long of a
hour flight.
drive is it? 8 hours? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. That's crazy. Yeah, California is like such a big state. Like you don't
yeah,
even
it's
realize that.
huge.
Oh my gosh. That's like how long it took me to drive from North Carolina to Florida when I was living in North Carolina going to the retreats. It's like always
Oh,
eight
really?
hour
Damn,
drive down and then like a
that's
10 to
crazy.
12-hour drive back up. But it's like it's cheaper than flying, so
Oh, is
you
it?
know,
Yeah,
and it was
honestly,
more convenient because I could take like my speakers and like all that
oh yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
you don't have to fit everything in a suitcase.
Yeah, no, that's what I do now. Luckily, we got these two guys that come to every retreat, and they always bring an extra set of speakers for me.
Oh, nice.
So definitely a blessing to have.
Yeah,
But
for
yeah,
sure. Yeah, California, honestly, it's cheaper to fly.
yeah,
Unless you
yeah.
have a
Especially like with
crazy,
the gas prices and everything there, I'm
yeah,
sure. Oh my God.
unless you have like a crazy hybrid, then like
Yeah,
it's just cheaper to fly.
yeah, for
And it's
sure.
like 1 hour versus 1 hour in the air versus like 8 hours on the road, plus traffic, plus like
Mm,
it's just like the endurance aspect. Like there's so many things you could spend 8 hours doing.
yeah, yeah. Have you taken a trip to Atlanta before?
No, I want to go. I don't really want to go in the summer because I know it's going to be super hot,
Mm,
but because I think it gets humid there too, right?
yeah, yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit. I feel like definitely not as bad as some places.
I know
Like
Florida gets pretty humid, right?
yeah, it's nowhere near Florida.
Yeah.
It's a much more bearable. But then again, I haven't been like in summer. I think the closest to summer I went was maybe it was like April or May last year,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I can't remember, but yeah, it's whenever we took that trip out with Donnie and all them.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I like Atlanta. Atlanta's cool. I feel like it's like the LA for trap producers.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think Mike told me about that trip. He told me that you bought him a burger from McDonald's and
I did.
he's still like grateful for
Oh
it.
yeah, I did. That was like the I think that was like the second to last day or something. I'm pretty sure he bought me like a shit ton of food on that trip though. I was down bad. I had like no money. I was scraping by to
Really?
make that trip happen.
Damn,
I
yeah.
I drove from North Carolina like 6 hours. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, but it was a
You
cool
guys
trip.
still have, like internet money, right?
Um, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Pario came to a session.
Mhm.
And Jutsu. And it was crazy when we were in the session with Jutsu, that's when he went platinum with his snot song.
Really?
Yeah, his
Yeah.
yeah, he produced Tell 'em. and he
Mm-hmm.
got the Twitter notification. He was like sitting there working on hi-hats or something, and Donnie was
Yeah.
sitting in the back. He's like, "Yo, bro, you just went platinum." Like that was such a surreal moment.
That
That
must be
was so wild.
crazy.
Yeah, it was so crazy. Like the Twitter notification popped up. He's like, "Damn, I didn't know it was like getting that close already. Like that's wild." That was like his first platinum placement too.
Dude, I'd be crying.
But yeah, Donnie got in Pario's vlog on that trip too.
Oh,
We were
really?
playing pool and talking or some shit. Yeah. Pario bought me some Chipotle.
Oh, that's nice though.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out Pario for that. But yeah, that was a dope trip. I like Atlanta a lot more than LA personally.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, LA is like, I think the reason I like it so much is because it's like you can do anything in LA. Like
Yeah.
it almost feels like GTA. Like I could do like whatever I want in LA almost.
Yeah.
Obviously not like
Any time of the day and you do it.
yeah, yeah, like where I live, bro, everything closes at like 8 or 9.
Oh my God, same, bro.
So like going to LA, I could get DoorDash at like 2 a.m. and like that's early.
Yeah, no, that's like something that was like such a weird thing when I got here because I feel like in the US at least like things are usually open like a little bit later. Like where I was in
Yeah,
North Carolina, it's like you could probably find something to do until like 11 p.m.
yeah.
But I'll be here and it'll be like 9 or 10 and I'll like ask my girl like you want to get some food or like, do something or whatever. She's like, "It's 10. Things closed like 3 hours ago." I'm like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah,
That's
like
crazy. Like the liquor
bedtime
stores and
now.
everything here, they close at like 9.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy too. Like the price of alcohol here compared to the US is insane. Like,
Oh, really?
oh my God. Like they don't have fifths and handles. Like they're smaller
Really?
sizes. Yeah, they're I always forget what they're called. It's like a it's some weird name. I'm gonna get it wrong. It's like a Jimmy or like some shit like that. It's like one of the sizes. It's like this little thing. One of
Oh,
my
really?
Yeah, it was like my first month here. And we wanted to get a bottle. Like we just
Yeah.
we moved into our new place. We were just like whatever. We had a little hot tub going on there and everything. We were like, oh yeah, let's get some vodka or something for tonight. So Alyssa goes out to the liquor store and comes back, and I told her I'd send the money for it. Like just let me know how much it was. She's like $28. It was like 28 Canadian. So it was like 21 US and it's like
Yeah.
smaller than a fifth. There's like this little thing. I was like, what do you
That's
mean?
crazy,
Like,
dude. Trader
where's the
Joe
other bottles? Like, what else did you get? No, that was it.
Trader Joe's has like a whole handle for like $11, bro.
Yeah, no, like this Svedka and shit that you get in the US for like
Yeah.
$10 for that whole thing. No.
It's garbage, but it does the job. Like
They don't even have the cheap trash stuff. Like the cheap trash stuff is still like way more expensive. It's
that's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, so well, now I don't drink very much.
Yeah.
It's not
Dude,
like I did before, but like, oh my God, now
yeah.
I really don't. Like that's
I
crazy.
don't I don't drink it very much either. Mainly when I go to LA, just because like
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just
I
a
would like every once in a while. I feel like at family events and stuff, we'll have like
oh
wine
yeah.
a lot, but other than that, not really.
For me, it's just like special occasions. So like LA or like let's say it's a my birthday or something, like or
Yeah.
I'm celebrating with a friend or something. But
Do you
normally it's
smoke?
just like, yeah, but I don't really like to do it socially.
Oh, really?
It's become like really dumb and like
Yeah.
I get in my head and I'm like I can't think of something to say. Like it's like everything goes from autopilot to like I have to consciously think about everything I'm doing to do it.
You just kind of zone out.
Yeah, it's almost like I have to think about breathing to breathe. Like
Yeah. I'm the same way. Like I can't smoke and then like make music every once in a
yeah, dude,
while,
I get
but
so busy.
oh my gosh, yeah.
I just
I'll be
want to lay
sitting
down
there and
and
like working on the same thing. No.
like I'll be sitting there like I'll be trying to upload a beat or something and it'll take me like an hour.
Yeah.
I'll be like, wait, what was I doing? Like, oh, I
You're
gotta
like,
find work.
what type beat is? Hold on. Where's the description again?
Yeah, like
Did I
I'll
upload
be
a
like,
thumbnail?
I'll be like, what, what am I doing? Like, am I finding artwork? Oh, I gotta find artwork, and then it's like, oh, I gotta export my beat. Like that's just the
It's like, oh
steps
man, I
that
forgot the
normally just
stems.
yeah, the things that are normally done on autopilot, I have to consciously do after realizing that I have to do them because I've been on my phone
Mm,
for 30 minutes. Like,
yeah. Yeah, or like you'll start repeating steps.
yeah, yeah,
That's what I do. I'll be like start laying down like a melody on something. I'll be like, oh man, I gotta find a VST, and then I'll like spend 30 minutes finding something, and I'll lay something down. I'll be like, oh shit, I gotta I gotta pick a sound. It's just
yeah.
stuck on a
Like
loop.
it's like, oh, I gotta like make a melody, and then like I don't. I just go on Instagram.
You start doing some drums, and you're like, yeah,
Yeah,
facts. Yeah, I don't even really smoke like that. I'll like maybe
yeah.
take a gummy before I go to bed sometimes, like just to
Oh
chill out a
yeah,
little bit. But like other than that, like not really.
yeah. Honestly, it's like I don't, I don't understand how people will do it like religiously. Like
Yeah, I mean, like
I can't
once you do
get
it to a
attention
certain
very much.
point, yeah,
Yeah,
once you
like
get to a certain point, you just like build up a tolerance.
yeah, I can't imagine being in a session like high. 'Cause that
Yeah,
would just be like difficult.
yeah,
It's already hard enough.
100%. Yeah, no, that I don't think I've ever been high in like a session that I actually had to go to. Like I for sure have when I was just like me and the boys cooking up at the
Oh
house or
yeah,
whatever, but or like at the retreats sometimes. But yeah.
yeah. I've been to a few sessions. I watched. Do you know Trinidad Cardona?
That sounds really familiar, but I don't think so.
I was in a session with him. He's a super dope guy. Like, he's just super nice. He doesn't really. He's like an inclusive person, if that makes sense. Like because
Yeah.
I was with Diego Dianso, the other YouTube producer. He like invited me and this other guy named prodbyyty, and he like even though Diego was the main guy who was invited by Trinidad, like he was still cool with us too. He wasn't acting like oh like I only want to talk to Diego or Dianso. Like he was just super nice and like
That's
he has
awesome.
a good ass voice. It's crazy. A lot of artists who have a good ass voice will still use autotune, which surprises me.
Well, I feel like autotune is kind of a standard thing. Like
Yeah, but it's
I or like do you mean like heavily?
like the heavy autotune, and
Mm.
it's just surprised me because I was like damn like you can sing like
Yeah.
like
Like
you can
what you
sing
doing this
normal.
for?
Yeah,
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, I feel like it's kind of a stylistic choice, but definitely take advantage of like your voice if you've got that for sure.
yeah. Like Brent Five is like to me he's one of my favorite artists obviously and to I couldn't even imagine him using autotune. Like I'm just not a big fan of the autotune sound honestly.
Yeah. Do you know Trey Amani?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He has the song with Brent.
Well, he's signed to Brent.
Yeah, on Lost Kids.
Yeah, so one of the guys that comes to the retreats all the time, my boy Notorious Nick, he's like
Mhm.
working with him super
Oh,
heavily now,
sick.
so we'll definitely have to get some samples in for that for sure.
Yeah, that'd be
I'll
crazy.
connect y'all too. But yeah,
Thank
it
you,
just
man.
like kind of randomly happened. Like so this dude Notorious Nick, shout out him. He's super fire.
Yeah,
He's based in the DMV, and Trey just I don't know how it happened, but like he just started pulling up to his studio all the time. So like they're always working. It's pretty dope.
that's
But yeah, do you feel like you have any artists right now that like you're trying to build up with a lot, or like that you've been locking in with
um
like a lot recently that are like kind of underground, or like maybe people don't know about them as much?
yeah, I mean I don't work with a lot of artists, but my one friend, I met him through music. He's like a cousin to me, honestly. His name's Alan, and he makes R&B, and his shit's really good.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's just the only thing is like he's super perfectionist, so then he never puts anything out,
Oh yeah,
which is like a
yeah,
lot of people. But yeah, I've been doing stuff with him. It's honestly like I don't know if it's the same for you, but when I get to a certain point with people, like if I'm really close with them, I rarely collab with them, just
yeah,
because like
yeah. No, that's 100% true. Yeah,
it's a weird, yeah,
yeah. It's like you you start to get to know somebody so well, and then like all of a sudden you're just not working with them or like not sending them stuff.
Yeah.
Like you just like fuck with them on some homie shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's like honestly, there's the music side and like the personal relationship side, and they end up just falling into the personal relationship side.
Yeah,
And I
but
feel
when you
like
do make a song with them, it ends up being like one of the
yeah,
craziest songs ever.
yeah, for sure. But I feel like a lot of people, it's very difficult to balance a relationship that involves business as well.
Hmm.
Because I feel like it'll always, or most of the times, will end up going down. One person will feel like they get the short end unless there's like active communication, like full transparency, which is very rare, especially with music.
Hmm. Yeah.
People, because with music, people, it's almost like a game of opposites. Like people say one thing, and it's so difficult to know if they're actually being honest or if they're just like making an excuse.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Music has broke my trust issues.
Yeah, no, for real. Like, so, like, honestly, I just everything is like taken with a grain of salt. Or honestly,
100%.
everything, like, I just assume like they're lying
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
like I'd rather be surprised than disappointed, you know?
Yeah, facts. Yeah, like it's that whole like, oh, I get paid next Friday, like that
Yeah, yeah,
characteristic, except just in general, like that's so many people with music, it's crazy. Like
yeah,
I don't know how that became a thing, but that's so wild to me. Like
yeah.
that and punctuality too. Like the fact that
Oh, yeah.
punctuality has become like almost a bad thing.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, does that make
Yeah,
sense? Like
yeah,
crazy.
dude.
Like,
I don't want to name any names, but one artist, I did a custom beat for him in December, and I still haven't gotten paid, and he's signed and everything.
oh my God.
And I did it for super cheap, considering he's signed. Like he's
Yeah,
signed, not like not to a no-name label. He's signed to either Interscope or Atlantic. I don't remember it.
that's crazy.
Like he wasn't even responding. I had to reach out to his manager, and I still haven't gotten paid. And it's like I'm just honestly waiting till the song comes out, and worst case, I have to lawyer up, which I'll figure it out when I get there.
Yeah.
But it's ridiculous. Like because I did the custom for 300. Most people don't even sell exclusives for 300.
Yeah, facts. Like
Like,
that's crazy cheap.
yeah, like me trying to work to someone's budget just screws me over, you know? Like, I don't get it. A
Yeah.
lot of artists are super narcissistic, so it just sucks.
Yeah. A lot of them get into that mindset of like, oh, I could just not pay you, and what are you gonna do about it? Like
Yeah, it's like then you can't have the song. Like it's a one thing to not be signed, but when you have that whole, I guess, uh, that whole platform, then it's like the higher you are, the harder you fall. So like you kind of have to keep everything in check. You can't be like making so many enemies and like mistakes.
I feel like the scene where that doesn't apply to is like the plug scene.
Oh,
Like
really?
I'm not gonna name anybody, but like there's so many artists in the plug scene, like that like virtual slash plug whatever, that are
Yeah.
just so like I don't have to pay anybody. Like if you ask
Really?
for money, you're like in the wrong. Like it's so crazy.
That's ridiculous,
It's
dude.
so wild. Like the egos these dudes have is insane for their like 100,000 monthly listeners or whatever. Like
Yeah, it's
so
crazy.
crazy. And
That's
also in the plug scene, like these guys will make opens and sell them for 300 or 400 bucks and sell them to like 20 people and just not question it. Like,
yeah, it's just
I
like
don't get it.
it's like their mentality is like working for me is a privilege. Like, why do I need
Yeah.
to pay? Like,
Yeah. That's crazy. But it'd be like that. That's that's the state of music.
yeah, the narcissism in music is insane.
Yeah. But yeah, man. This is it's been a great conversation. I think I covered a lot of the bases that I wanted to. Um, was there anything else that you had or that you wanted to talk about?
I think I think it's all good.
For sure.
Thanks,
Yeah.
thanks for doing the interview with me, or
Yeah,
thanks for
appreciate you coming
asking
on,
me to
man.
do
This
the
has been
interview.
great for sure.
Awesome.
But yeah, um, with that, hope you have a great rest of your day, man.
You too, man. Have a wonderful evening.
Hell yeah. And we'll catch you next time.